Check in. It's April 1st, 2021, which means we are already done with the first quarter of 2021, if you can believe that. First quarter's over. We are in the second quarter, and it's really important as the year progresses. You got a lot of things going on. You've got a lot of goals for yourself. It's important that you take a moment to take stock. 3 things I want to encourage you to do right now before this moment passes. What I want you to do is I want you to take a moment to reflect, a moment to reset, and a moment to recharge. So what do I mean by that? First thing you want to do is you want to reflect, right? If you don't pause for a minute and say, okay, what did I get done this last quarter? What were the targets? Did I hit those targets? Am I on track or am I off track? All of your goals just go out the wayside, right? You kind of lose them completely. So take a minute to reflect. If you've been following the retention tracking sheet process, what I want you to do is open your sales retention tracking sheet. Look at the goals you set January, February, and March and see, are we on track or are we off track? That's the first thing. Just kind of take a minute to reflect. Number 2, the second thing I want you to do is recharge yourself a little bit. And you do that by taking stock and by celebrating your progress. If you take a minute and you look back at the quarter, if you hit your goals, that's something to celebrate. That's something to go to the team and say, hey guys, we had an amazing first quarter. Here's what we got done, right? And like make sure everybody that was involved in that process feels appreciated, understands that that actually was accomplished, and kind of pat yourself and your team on the back. Really important to do that. Now, if you didn't hit the target, that's okay too. Don't get too stressed out about that, right? There's always something that you accomplished over the last 90 days. So find the wins, find the things that you did accomplish, find the things that you can feel good about, and make sure you focus on that. I find agencies that get stuck, agencies that stagnate, they either don't take time to reflect, so they don't know whether they made any progress or not, or when they do, they wind up beating themselves up. I didn't make progress. I didn't land the clients. I didn't get the meetings. And what happens if you start to focus on the negative, the things that you didn't get done, the issues that you faced? Post it in comments if you could. Here's what I believe. If you do that, what immediately starts to happen is you bring more of that into your life. You're like, okay, well, I guess I'm not capable of this. And you, instead of being resourceful, you start to just kind of shut down mentally. You'll still keep doing activity, but you won't get the outcomes that you're after. So that's the importance of doing this. Now, if you take a couple minutes and you start to think, you know what, I didn't hit my targets, but I got this little thing done. Or I dialed in my program, or I picked my niche and I got my list of people that I'm going after. I started getting some cold emails out and started that process. If you focus on the things that you did get done, you take a minute to pat yourself on the back, to celebrate that with your team, inevitably you're going to start to become more resourceful because you're thinking in a positive state. And when you're positive and you're focused on what's going right, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get more of that. And so what I want to encourage you to do right now, as you're watching this video, post something, 1 thing or 2 things that happened in the last quarter, whether you hit the targets or you didn't, that you got done that you feel proud of. Just taking a minute to think about that and mark it down and share it publicly, I promise you it will create more energy to kind of do what's next, right? Because the first step was to reflect. Right? You have to know, here was the target, here's what we got done. The second step is to recharge, and you do that by acknowledging the progress, celebrating your wins. You're going to get more of what you celebrate. Now, the third thing I want you to do is I want you to reset, right? Once you've done that, the next thing you need to do is reset. Okay, Q1 is over. 2021 is moving very quickly. What are we going to get done in Q2, right? How many clients will you land? How much recurring revenue will you get to? Best place to log that is in your sales retention tracking sheet. Open it up. Mark out April, May, and June. Be sure, if nothing else, before the end of this video, that you're clear on exactly how many clients you're going to have by the end of this quarter, at least what your target is, and how much recurring revenue you'll have, right? When you've got a target, then you can start to reverse engineer a plan to bring that into reality. So what I want you to do is, as you fill that out in the sales retention tracking sheet, I want you to reverse engineer. Okay, if the goal is to land 15 new clients over the course of this quarter, how many strategy sessions are you going to need to get there? And then what are you going to need to do from a marketing and business development perspective to make that a reality? So that's the process, right? We're going to reflect a little bit on Q1, our wins, what we learned. we're going to recharge by acknowledging the wins, by celebrating that in some way, and then we're going to reset our goals and our plans. Give me a plus or a like or a yes in the comments if you're with me on this, if you're excited about reflecting, resetting, and recharging. Just give me a yes in the chat if you're up with this. I just want to share my screen real quick. So this is the sales retention tracking sheet. You all have access to this. You all should have built this, whether you did this with us in the first module or whether you did this in your 2021 agency growth plan, that webinar that we ran. You all have this sales retention tracking sheet. So really, you should have been able to say, when I started the year, here's how much recurring revenue I had. Here's what my monthly recurring fees are. And then you should have been able to go in and set some goals and some targets for yourself. And if you're following along, you're doing this right, you should be tracking in, here's how many clients we won, here's how many clients we lost, month over month. And you should be able to look at the first quarter and see, on track or off track, right? Did I sell those 4 clients? Did my recurring revenue grow? Did I lose more clients than I was anticipating, right? A goal without tracking is what? It's a wish. It's just a thought. Nothing happens. But when you create a goal and you put a mechanism in place to track it and hold yourself accountable to it, that's when you start to create momentum, right? So use this process, right? Enter your sales, track your sales, and that's the first step, right? Did I hit my target or did I not hit my target? Recognize, acknowledge. Now, as it comes to the next quarter, just make sure that your current baseline, your current actuals in March are up to date. Right? Do you have 13 clients now and 15,000, or do you have 75 clients and 95,000 a monthly recurring? Make sure that it's up to date there on your actuals. And then in April, May, and June, you're just going to plot out your new targets. 4 new clients per month, 5 new clients per month, whatever it is, however many clients you anticipate losing. And then you'll be really clear what the target is for April, May, and June. Right? And it gives you something very, very finite that you can charge toward, that you can hold yourself accountable to, and that you can reference back and know, are we on track or are we off track? And so that's where we're resetting the plan. The other thing I really want to encourage you to do is pull up the KPI projector. Make sure that you're clear on the one KPI that's the most important, which is how many strategy sessions, how many sales meetings you're going to need in order to hit that target. So let's just say you decided we're going to sell 4 clients per month at $1,500 per month, right? And you're gonna grow by that amount over the next quarter. For sales, if you pop into the KPI Projector sheet or tab on the sheet, let's just put that in 4, and then you log what your average close ratio is, right? Are you closing 20% of your appointments? Are you closing 70% of your appointments? Right? It really depends upon how well your prospects are positioned, how great your sales process is, how many case studies you have in terms of your authority. But then I want you just to put in what that is. Let's say you're closing at 35%. That means you're going to need at least 11 qualified strategy sessions per month to hit that new client target, right? And so that becomes the KPI. That becomes the thing that you're driving towards. Hopefully that's clear, because if you're clear on what your goal is, and then you're clear on the KPI, the next thing you have to do is engineer the plan. So what are you going to do from a lead generation, from a prospecting perspective for yourself, for your agency, to make sure that you've got enough strategy sessions to hit that target? That's what I want you to do. That's what I want you guys to map out. That's what the sales retention tracking sheet is all about. So please take a minute, reflect on the first quarter, refresh by acknowledging your progress, and reset by resetting the goals for the next quarter and by mapping out your plan and your KPIs. What I want you to encourage you to do is put this in a spreadsheet on sales retention tracking sheet. Make sure you've got this pinned somewhere so you're checking it at least a couple times per week and holding yourself accountable to moving things forward. And then I would also suggest is that you make the goal, the target that you have for the quarter, very visible and very present. Right? If you're using one of our KPI boards, put that out in front of you. If you're not, get a whiteboard, put it in front of you so it's visible. This quarter we're going to sell 12 new clients and we're going to grow our recurring revenue to X, right? And then just put in April, May, June. And as you land a client, physically write it out and hold yourself accountable to hit that target. What you measure gets done. What you track always improves. So let's make Q2 an amazing quarter. I want to hear some of your wins, some of the things you're excited about in the comments, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish this quarter. I'll talk to you soon.